Welcome to the B2T show. This is Rick, your host, here on Wednesday, October 9th. And we are talking about a boom of that is just exposing the hoax that John Solomon gave. The whole Cabal hit, the whole Cabal hoax is being just destroyed. And there's a series of bombshells hitting it. I'm going to talk about the one specific boom with John Solomon quite a bit and just how it just exposes these Kabbalists in a big way. So again, this is the B2T show here on October 7th. I'm Rick, your host. Let's get into this. You got Jan Lamoth. It looks like it was the first one here. Forgot Frog for you, and a bunch of other people now have joined. Let me know where you guys are from. Tulsa or Oklahoma. I see New Zealand. Ken from New Zealand. Thank you guys for coming here. We got the Sentia TA. I'm not sure what that is, but appreciate you guys all being here from Sacramento, California, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Was that Slidell, Louisiana? We've got people from Texas in the house, and California, Rapid City. Let's get rolling. All right. If you look at Q, we all obviously know that the last post, if we reset, was actually all the way on August 1st. So we are almost a month and a half into no Q, new posts, the whole coats before D-Class being the last one. But what is the update from 8chan? Well, we've got some more chatter going on in this 8chan channel saying, if you were previously a board owner on 8chan, please email us at admin@8kun.net with your shared secret if you are interested in migrating your board to 8kun. So this new 8kun, we saw some pictures of it before, etc., is coming up here shortly. So that'll be exciting. I got Florida, Kansas City, Mesa, Arizona all in the house too. Austin, Texas. Let's get going. So it's exciting to know that we're going to have some Q posts probably back, but at least have just a great place for more bread baking and all the hive thinking, etc. So I think even though we've had so much news, future proofs past that we haven't needed it, it'll be good to have it back to continue. Now, you guys know about security and DoorDash. Did you see that? It's crazy what's kind of going on here. And I tell you what app's going to be next? They had 4.9 million of users. It seems like every day another powerful app has been compromised. Who's going to be next? One of the best things you can do to help protect yourself is to sign up for a free 30-day trial of Virtual Shield. And guys, this is really 101 in security, is being able to change your IP address. And here's how easy it is to do. You basically just come down here and you just to virtualshield.com and you say get started. And you get started, you either pick a personal plan or a family plan. You get 3 30-day trial. It's as simple as that, and it's one of the easiest to actually get going as well. You just come here, select what city you want to be coming out from, and hit connect. Sometimes you want to pretend you're somewhere else or other part of the world, or getting around all kinds of issues that you can have. And as far as blocked, some countries are blocking websites. You can get around it with a VPN off them. And another thing that's real interesting about this is if I go and show you my IP address, it actually changes. So, for instance, my IP address when I first got on was this one right here. You can probably see that. And then once I got on the Virtual Shield, it actually changed to a different IP address. That's just the basics of security that you need to have or otherwise people can track by your IP address everything you've ever done on any web browser, right? And it doesn't matter if you're on your PC or your mobile phone. If it's going through that router, it's going through the same IP address. That's why you really want to look into protecting yourself with something like virtualshield.com. Now, there's a special that they have right now for Halloween. It's 25% off for everyone, right? And it includes a lot of their upsell things that are really nice, that include things that protect your camera, protect your microphone, as well as the best thing is signing up for 2 years in advance, and you actually get down to $374 a month. Again, a lot of these are $30 a month or so for really good ones that are fast, when there's ones that actually are easy to use and they don't keep logs. Those are important things. So again, get that 25% off all the VPN packages as well as other savings areas. Go to virtualshield.com or hit the link below where it says virtualshield.com/blessed. If you're ready to roll, the best deal is to go to virtualshield.com/blessed. All right, let's start getting into, there is so much news. I couldn't even cover it all, right? I was listening to Dan Bongino today, and did a fabulous job, by the way. If you're not following Dan Bongino, would suggest it if you really want to understand the details of FISAgate and really tearing apart this hoax that's going on right now. Some of these articles, I got a hat tip to him from his show notes, right? FBI foreign surveillance programs violate America's civil liberties. FISA court finds. So before I get into the hoax that's going on right now, the hoax of Russia is becoming more and more apparent, which is kind of exciting to actually see all this come out. Like here we are, seeing Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Well, you know what? You guys are really getting nailed. And we know that. We knew the FISA was going to come out and showing that they basically violated everything. And now that, unfortunately, that Durham said that, I'm not going to be done potentially until next year. That's got a lot of people frustrated. But guys, remember, this is all could be unleashed a lot earlier than that if it's in our cards to do so. So it's all a military intelligence exercise. I know some people hit me this week on social media and were saying, hey, when is this going to happen? When are we going to see justice? And I said, dudes, if you understand military intelligence and understand the plan, you're not going to be asking about timing, right? Because if that gives away the timing to the enemy. This is a very meticulous laid out process. And the fact is that we are getting justice every day when we compare to what would have happened if Hillary Clinton was president. Every single day we're making progress toward justice. And we're seeing justice. We're seeing people get arrested all the time. We just saw a new whistleblower, not a whistleblower, a leaker get nailed. With an unsealed indictment. So there's things happening here, guys. We got to keep our heads up as we're looking at this. If you look at this, it actually has the Foreign Intelligence Service Act has come under scrutiny in recent years after the FBI obtained a FISA warrant to conduct an investigation into former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. And with obviously the two-hop rule, it really becomes obvious what's happening there. So go check out that article there. Here's Pelosi hasn't really started the impeachment process. This is so funny. I wanted to give you my perspective on this because I'm sure you heard this from 100 people. But just the fact that they are not doing a formal vote to start the impeachment probe, and they are trying to call it an impeachment inquiry, is the word they're using, without going to a vote, is because they're scared to death to take a vote. And why? Well, as you know, there's over 30 Democrats that won in 2018 in the House that are in Trump districts where they like Trump. So they vote against that could destroy them. And it's going to anyway, I believe. So they're trying to do as much damage to Trump for 2020 without having to go through the formal impeachment process. So it's so funny to see how Trump has responded to that by basically giving him the double-barrel middle fingers and saying, I'm not going to play this until you do the vote. So now he's challenging them to do the vote. It's really interesting to see what's happening here. So this article is relatively short, so you could dig into this. But like this says, American founders did not put impeachment into the Constitution as a partisan tool to be used for overrunning an election. How this process is conducted today will reveal who in the House of Representatives agrees with them. And I'll blow some of these up as I dig into a little bit more. But here's one that says, whistleblower wrote memo after learning of Ukraine call, saying White House official called it crazy frightening. So there you go. Exclusive. Immediately after learning the secondhand information from the White House official about President Trump's July 25th phone call with the president of Ukraine, the first whistleblower wrote a dramatic personal memo saying the White House official characterized the call as crazy and frightening, Fox News has learned. So Dan Bongino really kind of thinks he knows who this is. You'll get the point if you watch his show today or yesterday. Today or tomorrow. I think you really find it. But the whistleblower wrote that the conversation had an unnamed White House official only lasted a few minutes, and as a result, I only received highlights. And so they're really trying to hide this whistleblower too. It's really kind of interesting if you look at it. And the fact is that they are they think everybody needs to not hide behind their anonymity when they attack any Republican. But when it comes down to the deep state, they say, hey, we need to keep this quiet and confidential, and he needs to stay anonymous. They're actually going to try to hide his voice, etc., not even let you know if it's a man or woman. White House announces it will not comply with illegitimate and unconstitutional impeachment inquiry. This is the double barrel middle fingers, and the White House outlined in a defiant 8-page letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and top Democrats on Tuesday why it will not participate in the illegitimate and unconstitutional impeachment inquiry, charging that proceedings have run roughshod over congressional norms and the president's due process rights. And this is so correct. I mean, you look at all of the past impeachment processes; they all took a vote. They even took a vote on Nixon in the House. He resigned later, so they end up not impeaching him. But in all the impeachment hearings, they've taken votes. And so to not do that is basically them changing the rules again as they go, and it's really exposing the deep state pretty badly. And then John Solomon dropped his bombshell, which I won't hold you in suspense any longer, but basically he did it on Hannity last night, and it was that the actual investigation that they said that may have been a quid pro quo on, right, was actually started well before even that President Zelensky got elected, let alone the phone call for the congratulations. So the investigation was already going. So that was conveniently left out of the whistleblowers area report, right? So this was a complete deep state coordinated hit from Adam Schiff and company, coordinating obviously and colluding with everybody, all parts of the deep state. And this is why I think it's a great decision for Trump to not do that. And it's going to be real exciting to see how that all pans out. Extreme measures, Dems considering to hide the whistleblower identity. This is what's funny, is that they just, because it was, that they don't want him testifying up in front of everybody under oath and getting and people really understanding how much of a deep state operator this person is. They're trying to just keep him safe. I believe that's why they're doing it anyway. It says, but according to the Hill, House Democrats are looking to prevent the whistleblower from being identified by holding the person's testimony at a remote location and potentially changing their appearance and voice. Democrats are looking to distort the whistleblower's appearance and voice, including through a video camera and audio-only testimony or by placing the person behind a screen, reported the Washington Post. So they have this all planned out. I mean, they obviously coming out in all these waves, right? Wave 1 was Ukraine, and wave 2, lately here's another wave about some more Russia stuff coming out. And then obviously every single Five Eyes city and other ones that where Barr is going to get to the bottom of the origin of the Spygate or the FISA-gate issue from 2016. They're trying to protect him, just like Mueller was trying to protect, as Robert Mueller was actually attacking all the people that might talk about the Clinton Foundation. If they had any association with Trump, they attacked him hard, like Pinchuk and many others, right, to quiet them down. That's exactly what they're trying to do now. It's just not going to work. Here's Trump's take on it. He's saying, so pathetic to see sleepy Joe Biden, who with his son Hunter, and to the detriment of the American taxpayer, had ripped off at least 2 countries for millions of dollars, calling for my impeachment. And I did nothing wrong. Joe's failing campaign gave him no other choice. Excuse me. As you know, I've been around my grandson since last Friday. He was born on Saturday, actually. We flew up here on Friday once my daughter went into labor. And it was kind of a little scary. We had him, he's in NICU for a while, but more precautionary because of the fever he had. But he's doing fine. Mom is home. Exciting times. So hoping I'm not getting any of that cold coming my way. But anyway, it's really, you can see how bold Trump is getting now, really calling out the corruption. Here's Joe M's take on it. Mere days after Clapper takes a shot at At the head of the DC snake, Biden's spokesperson admits Obama was well aware of Hunter's corrupt dealings in Ukraine. Then as the rats scurry, all roads lead to the most treacherous legal immigrant of all, Barry Soetoro, which is really Obama's real name. I think we're going to find out here soon. And this is a true pundit article. You can actually see a video on it as well. But just the fact that we're now learning that everything's going to point back to the corruption of Obama as we dig into those all that stuff that's been hidden under lock and key behind hiding who he really is. All right, here's Burisma Holdings paid Joe Biden $900,000 for lobbying activities. So this is real interesting. This is coming from the Gateway Pundit again, but it's talking about that this Ukrainian MP, Andy Dekak, basically publicized the documents at the press conference on Wednesday, as he said the records describe the mechanism of getting money by Biden Sr. This was a transfer of this Burisma Group's funds for lobbying activities, as investigators believe, personally to Joe Biden, not Hunter Biden. I'm talking about Joe, the vice president, prior vice president, and also the presidential candidate, through a lobbying company. Funds in the amount of $900,000 were transferred to the U.S.-based company Rosemont Sencap Partners, which, according to open sources, in particular the New York Times, is affiliated with Biden. The payment reference was payment for consulting services. So these guys just, if you go just read some of these books, this enriching themselves through politics, it's a big game. And one of the main cornerstones has been in Ukraine. That's why they're scared to death for touching Ukraine and attacked hard once Trump went in for it. Just in, Adam Schiff claims whistleblower in Ukraine scandal was receiving death threats, but forgets the whistleblower is anonymous. No! So nobody had figured out who this guy was, I think, until yesterday, potentially. So maybe this could be a possibility, but I doubt it. I doubt it, since most people do not know who it is. Exclusive. Stephen Miller exposes the deep state, a collection of permanent bureaucrats enmeshed inside the federal government. So this is a very well-written article. I want to spend some time on this one. Stephen Miller, a senior advisor to President Donald Trump, joined Breitbart News Sunday on Sirius XM 125, the Patriot Channel, this weekend to expose the deep state forces he said are driving the effort by Democrats to proceed with impeachment against the president. And it says the attempt at impeachment is best understood as a legislative coup against a democratically elected president, and the radical leftists in Congress are working arm in arm with the deep state saboteurs and their allies in the media in order to try to officiate a illegal coup, Miller said. I think that's pretty well put. Although rest assured, they will fail, he continued. The deep state is a collection of permanent bureaucrats enmeshed inside the federal government who can't be fired or removed. At least historically, have not been able to. I like that, how he qualified that. I think it could be a beautiful thing. Because of misguided civil service laws, they believe they know better than you and your listeners and the voters how the country ought to be run. At this moment in time, the deep state has a knife aimed at the heart of American democracy. And that's what you're seeing playing across your TV screens and the newspapers, pages, and online with these so-called whistleblowers who are, of course, in fact, angry, hate-filled, rage-driven bureaucrats determined to take down the President of the United States and illicitly and improperly use the Whistleblower Protection Act in order to officiate their designs. Mueller continued, one of the gravest threats that we face today, and I can't emphasize this enough, to our republic from form of government is the unelected deep state. Love how he's just being really bold about exactly what this is. And I'll explain what I mean by that. The Constitution of the United States, Article 2, states very clearly, and this is a quote, the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. What that means is that the whole executive power is vested in one democratically elected person, the president. The president who is accountable to the voters, the president who is accountable to the American people, holds and wields the executive power. Every other person in the federal government, in the executive branch, is an extension of his authority, is acting as an extension of his authority delegated to them. They have no independent authority. So when a deep state bureaucrat says, I don't want Donald Trump to be president, I don't want to officiate his policies, I don't want to carry out his agenda, so I will do the opposite, they're violating the Constitution, and they're taking away the power of the American people to elect who heads the executive branch and what policies they implement. Miller said that what Trump is facing would be the equivalent of a member of Congress having disloyal staff forced on them from their predecessors, people working to undermine that member's wishes on a daily basis. Imagine, as an example, if a U.S. senator or congressman was elected but was saddled with staff from the previous senator or congressman that worked against them night and day to block them from carrying out the legislative agenda they campaigned on, Miller said. Would anybody ever tolerate that? This is the same thing happening in the executive branch now, but played across thousands of people seated throughout the federal government, and I've seen this firsthand. Miller said in his years at President Trump's side, he has seen up close and personal what deep state saboteurs do when they disagree with Trump's policies. When we hold interagency briefings, and you'll invite career folks on, like, for example, working on an issue like, say, refugee policy. And if they don't like the direction you're taking, they will leak and spin and lie about the contents of your meetings, Miller said. They'll take it to the Washington Post, to the New York Times, to MSNBC. They'll show private documents. They'll show private emails. They'll show private correspondence. And then they'll spin and fabricate and lie to create their desired narrative to try to steer their policy in the direction they want to steer it in. And the most dangerous expression of this, of course, we've seen, has been the intelligence community, which is amassed with awesome power, awesome capabilities, and they're directing that and wielding that in some cases against a duly elected president of the United States of America, which is a form of sabotage that should terrify everyday American citizens. That is now the situation we find ourselves in. Miller continued by noting that the reason these actors continue to attempt to undermine Trump is because Trump has completely upended the failures of both major political parties over the past several decades in Washington. The last point I'll make about this is the why, Miller said. Why? Because this president dared to disrupt two-party betrayal of the American people over many decades. Betrayal on trade, betrayal on China, betrayal on foreign policy, betrayal on the southern border, betrayal on our economy. Decade after decade, year after year, administration after administration, this president dared to stand up to defy that betrayal, was elected to end that betrayal. But the people who profited like parasites off the betrayal are now the ones trying to prevent him from executing the agenda that the American people installed him to execute. That's the situation we find ourselves in today. Well, beautiful article. From there, Miller pointed out several specific examples of saboteurs before these current so-called whistleblowers who used their positions in government to attempt to undermine Trump's policies. At the very beginning of the administration, while Sally Yates, the acting attorney general of the United States during the earliest days of the Trump administration, who refused to enact the lawful order of the travel ban in the beginning of the administration, Trump fired her as a result, and then later the travel ban was implemented and upheld as lawful by the U.S. Supreme Court. Sally Yates? Yeah, Sally Yates. Let's hit on that, he said. And he goes on talking about Sally Yates and other examples of exactly what has been going on. And so it's quite a long article, but you can see some powerful stuff there. Steve Miller is awesome, and I love how he actually understands this and is really making this happen. So I'm looking at, looks like I've got a relatively good connection. It's going green to yellow here. Hopefully you guys are getting all this. I see some people saying that the screen's a little blurry for some, but I think most people give me a 1 if the things are going well on sound and images. If not, give me a 2. All right, House sends more carefully worded impeachment demand letters, not subpoenas. OMB and Pentagon. And so this is, again, they're not subpoenas. That's the whole point, right? Is that this is a game they're playing. They don't even have subpoena power when they do this. That's exactly right. Yeah, House Music TV, Sally Yates, is she a man? According to SB2, she is. So I'll just put it there. Lots of ones. Looks like we've got some good audio and a video going on for everybody. That's great news. Trey Gowdy to join Trump legal team. What role might TG be walking into? Remember from Q537, we saw that. And so it'd be interesting. And then we see Fox News firing him. It's like, what? So it seems pretty crazy. And haven't dug into exactly why they did that, and maybe their correspondents can't have that, but. Hey, my second sponsor is Noble Gold. As you guys know, I'm a big gold fan. I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving you financial advice. But I tell you what, if you just look and visit the great tour spots in America, everybody looks peachy, and the gamblers and the show in Las Vegas, the restaurants and threats on Broadway, the galleries and bars in Chicago are full. But you look a little closer, and all's not so well, right? You fail to notice the uptick in homelessness in the street, the people out there, and it's just kind of how it started last time. If you speak to them, many of the older folk are ordinary people who fell victim to the banks in the last crash in 2008, foreclosure and bankruptcy. You know, I got hit by 2008 really hard. You've heard that story before, I'm sure. And they've never recovered. They didn't want you to be there, but they borrowed up to their limits, and when all went wrong, they found themselves destitute on the streets. The signs are there. This might be happening again. Car loans are at a time high, credit cards getting maxed out, and house prices, mortgage loans rocketing. But just like last time and the time before that, the stock market was way overvalued and wobbling. So call this number of 877-646-5347. You need to put a precious metal safety net of gold or silver under those savings to protect them. Gold and silver are low-risk assets, and you can cash out again and again once the danger has passed. So talk to one of the specialists over at Noble Gold today and see how they can help to protect you and your family for what's coming. Click the link below that I have in here, or get the Gold Guide by calling 877-646-5347. Again, I have a link down below where you can see it on my screen as well, for those of you not listening to the podcast. Here we are. My friend, this is another vote, VOT.co, right? VOAT.co, I mean. And my friend recovering in the hospital after being attacked by Antifa thugs. We can give him some sort of love vote. I will show him your support. So there's a lot of people giving him love and et cetera, down below this. But Antifa's out, guys. This is another reason why, be prepared. All the things I talk about that you would just think about, making sure you have the flashlights and the ammunition if you have guns, et cetera, making sure you have the food and the water that I talk about all the time. And in fact, that's one thing that I just believe that everybody needs to be careful of, not, when the emergency happens, be going to the store at that point in time when those store shelves could be emptied, or there's going to be Antifa attacks. There's a lot of pointing of other false flag things coming on with specific large cities. I'm not going to mention those because we're going to pray against that. But it is smart to prepare, right? And as we talk about that, if remember, I've got the water filter in now. It's called waterwithrick.com, and you also have this preparewithrick.com, which is the food. So Prepare It With Rick is where you will go to get the 2-week and 4-week survivals. These are Mylar patches, resealable patches. You can see a huge discount on the 2-week grab-and-go emergency food supply now. Only $79. You can get a 2-week grab-and-go one, and there's also a 4-week supply here with a $100 discount on it. So go again, preparewithrick.com, or go to waterwithrick.com to get those things taken care of, to make sure that you are prepared when all that stuff happens. Now, let me get back to a couple other key things I want to go through. You can see votes been down off and on. I didn't go on last night because it went down on me. So hopefully we'll. Some of these are a little older articles I had up from yesterday. So let me get to this. Here it is. Right here, Donald Trump on a tweet says the United States was supposed to be in Syria for 30 days. That was many years ago. We stayed and got deeper and deeper into battle with no aim in sight. When I arrived in Washington, ISIS was running rampant in the area. We quickly defeated 100% of ISIS caliphate. Then he goes into just talking about this whole war and getting out of Syria. And there's a lot of, like Lindsey Graham is totally against this. A lot of people are really thinking that Trump is making a mistake here. Ben Garrison actually did a little picture on this. Let me show you that. It's kind of cool. You'll see I think I sent this out. Those of you who will follow me on Twitter or Facebook. There you go. War, not my style. Where here's the Grim Reaper with blood, saying, hey, here's your war helmet for you, Trump. And he says, we have made this special just for you. And it's got Iraq and Syria and Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Egypt and Turkey and Iran, Persian Gulf and Israel, right? War. So Trump's done a really good job of not just falling into the deep state war. This is a lot how they get their money. They own the oil companies. They own the large contractors that make the bombs. They want these bombs to be going off. So to not be in a war for this long is not good for the deep state. They want to escalate those, where we are in all the countries, and to be pulling people out. It's just unheard of. So I'm supporting the president through this. We'll see. I'm concerned about the Christians and the Kurds. That's one thing that we'll have to think through and pray for sure. With Turkey there, with their aggression, it's a little bit scary. But Trump's trying to do what he said he's going to do, right? And that's a scary thing about this, is when we have so many deep state operatives. It's like, how do you actually do what he promised, but not give more power to the deep state? So I think this whole military intelligence, we just need to trust the plan and understand that Trump knows what he's doing as the kind of the head of that, right? He's Q plus after all. Indictment unsealed, leaker being prosecuted. It's happening. That's what I'm saying, guys. It is happening. Every single day that Hillary president's not president and Donald J. Trump is president, we are getting justice worldwide in many places, right? Especially in the United States, and much more than we would have ever gotten. And so this is amazing. Sean McCown saying the pullout only affected 30 to 50 people. I think what they're worried about is the full pullout and the Kurds being left defenseless. But anyway, that is. But I just want to make sure you guys know that this is one of these leakers that when they set up all those, when it looked like chaos in the Trump administration early on, they were sending leaks out with one piece of information wrong, another leak out with another piece of information out. And then seeing where these leaks were happening. Well, this is one of the guys that got nailed. It says the DOJ just announced the arrest of Henry Kyle Freeze, a DIA employee accused of leaking U.S. intelligence reports about foreign countries' weapon systems to journalists in 2018 and 2019. So the fact is that we are starting to get, he was a counterterrorism analyst at DIA until today. So good stuff going on when we start nailing the leakers based upon most likely Jeff Sessions' work was done here, because this was 2018 where some of this was happening, right? Here's somebody saying, LOL, feel for me, Anons. I was just informed by my supervisor that I am no longer openly having conversations about politics. I am irritating coworkers who overhear and disagree with my view. So Trump haters have been going to him, threatening to take me to HR if I continually openly supporting President Trump. The resolution, if I continue openly supporting President Trump. The resolution only if in one-on-one conversations with closed-door settings am I supposed to talk about politics, or the hereunder cometh. where we go one, we go all. And this other person says, aha, congrats, I suffered the same. My fate was a bit more permanent, unfortunately. So there's a lot of people getting hit for their belief system. This is what the media has done to this country, trying to destroy it, trying to divide us. This is what the George Soros organizations have done, trying to divide us. Black Lives Matter, trying to divide us. All the George Soros organizations designed to support climate change, to divide us, lying to the American people, constant 4 a.m. talking points, trying to destroy the U.S. That's all there is to it. Ever notice how the folks demanding socialism don't really contribute much to society to begin with? I think that's a good point, and there's a little meme on it if you want to take I'll move my cursor out of the way so you can take a screenshot of that and send that out on your social media. So, but there's even I got dear family members that are getting caught into this socialism trap. It's a bunch of crap. It really is. I think you guys know I lost my mom based on Medicare for all, if you will. It was free health care in socialized medicine down in Mexico, where she qualified after being there 7 years and ended up just being poisoned to death over around a 40-day period because they didn't get her, or wasn't diagnosed early enough, didn't have the right x-ray machines, didn't have the right enough people to have the surgeries. Everything's rationed in healthcare for all. So anybody that says Medicare for all, you just run away from that. That is one thing we do not want down here in the United States. GOP Senator, Arizona, foster kids are being sold into sexual slavery. So there's a article here that you can dig into, and I think I already brought that up as well. But I tell you what, there's our foster care systems, a lot of them were corrupt, so we got to be careful. Looks like I didn't have that up. Let me bring that article up. But the foster care systems is one of the many areas supplying the human trafficking. GOP Senator, Arizona foster kids are being sold into sexual slavery. Here he is, David Farnsworth. He's a Republican out of Mesa, Arizona. So, this is real stuff happening out there. A couple of days ago, I posted some data. I dug up about Paul Pelosi and the Ukrainian energy company Viscoil he worked for. They removed Paul Pelosi's face from the webpage since then. So he's got a document showing that. So we've got these guys on the run, right? So the fact is that this has happened every day. The digital soldiers, you guys forwarding videos like this or memes and getting out there, and the great Anons doing their analysis is really having an effect on the deep state having to cover up because they can't hide anymore. Change is happening. People of all walks of life are waking up. I even believe that even groups like Antifa are waking up and losing their members. Their members at the violent protests are no bigger than the turnout at the Beto rally. Then you look at any Trump rally and it's filled with hope, pride, self-worth, much bright future in the light. I stood waiting for a light to cross the street yesterday. I'm not going to go through this whole story, but basically he just started picking up straws. Somebody stopped and gave him a bag and said, thank you. So they're just the patriots cleaning up the cities and streets, and just seeing that change happening is quite exciting. This is a great thread. I'm not going to have time to go through on the show, but it's talking about Ellen DeGeneres and George Bush, when they saw him at the football game. For those of you who didn't see that, but here you have this very liberal, gay, basically an elite. And then you have the supposed Republican conservative of George W. Bush. But they're both elites. We know this because we're awake. But the liberals got mad at Ellen for being with George Bush, right? And it's just kind of funny to see how they've successfully, especially on the left, separated us to divide us. And that's one thing that we have got to understand is that, and some other people say, oh, it's so great that these people are coming together. No, these are two evil elites. Remember, George Bush was in the 322. He was in the Skull and Bones, just like John Kerry was. And his dad Prescott Bush, etc. These are evil elites, and so to see two evil elites at a football game together, I don't care whether they're right or left, they're both evil. But this links Ellen to some pretty bad stuff. The WikiLeaks basically saying Hillary, saying, hey, she's the best place you can rely on her to get information and narratives out that you want. I'm not going to go to the details of this, but there's all kinds of stuff she pulls out. Also, the only person that got to talk to the security guard that supposedly saw some of the shooting going on at the Mandalay Hotel in Las Vegas. Ellen DeGeneres was the only one there. Also, look at the background. That is Epstein Island set. On her set. Crazy. So Ellen is a deep state freak, guys, and she's going to be exposed. She's also she links her to the CIA here as well. So go look at that thread. I think you'll find it intriguing. Good thing to forward on to friends as well. In fact, I'll make sure I retweet this right now. There you are. Now you got Zero Hedge article here talking about for millions of liberal Californians, especially those living in the immediate proximity of Berkeley, socialism is always and only the answer. And while we doubt they would voluntarily move to Venezuela, to personally experience the fruits of such a regime brings, especially in its final stages, nearly 1 million Californians are about to enjoy one of the biggest benefits of living in a socialist regime: lack of electricity. Nearly 800,000 customers of bankrupt utility PG&E will lose power starting just after midnight as the embattled utility launches a long overdue effort to avoid starting a wildfire in extremely dry and windy weather. On Tuesday, PG&E said that it will proceed with the massive outages it has been considering this week and adding 200,000 additional customers into the mix. Can you imagine that? The power company decided to turn everything off. It's like, whoa! It's just pretty crazy when you think about it, but that's happening. 800,000 people in California to lose power after midnight. I think it was yesterday. But, whoa. We know that there could be some other really cabal-oriented criminality going there as well. The United Nations is on track to run out of money by the end of the month. It's like, wow. So even though Trump has gotten all this new money coming in, they're still asking for more, and they're not getting it. And all the more, good news for me is for you and me who knows what really goes on at the UN, is that they're not going to have as many meetings, or like they're going to do a bunch of cutbacks, which I think is awesome. Who needs a huge UN, right? Member states have paid only 70% of the total amount needed for the regular budget operations 2019. This translates to cash shortage of $230 million at the end of September. We run the risk of depleting our backup liquidity reserves by the end of the month. So, interesting there. Giuliani warns Hillary, days of you cannot indict a Clinton are over. I love Rudy, man. He is getting bold. But that's exactly what's happening. The days of you cannot indict a Clinton are over. Woo! Yes. I finally understand the checkmate position. And this guy basically just talks about checkmate being the fact that if there is an impeachment and it goes public, you would have 50 million Americans tuned in as mountains of evidence testimonies come out pouring, and that's where it's all going to come flooding out. Now, I disagree with this guy, but I just thought I'd pull it out here because they're saying that the checkmate is going to be when there's a trial in the Senate. I don't think it's going to get there. I don't think they're going to get the votes to actually get to impeachment. And I guess my main reason I think that is mainly because of Kim Clement's prophecy that says impeachment, but nay. Now, he may be wrong, but if Kim Clement is a true prophet, like I think he was, and his long prophecy, I think I have that, by the way. I didn't think about showing you that. I was bringing up a Mark Taylor one, but if I just research I've copied a lot of these in here, and I go Clement, and I say impeachment, should come up. Yeah, there it was. I just misspelled impeachment. So yeah, here it is. And if I go Control F again, impeach. I'm just using my little Apple notes. You can see notes up here. Is where I copied a lot of my prophecies, and then I can search like I just showed you right there. So that's where I get how I do that. So this says, and then there is a nation he showed me. He took me itching for a new kind of war with America. They will shout, impeach, impeach. And it's talking about all these people that are threatening Trump. If you read this whole thing, impeach, impeach, they say, but nay, this nation shall come very suddenly, but shall not come in the time of President Obama. Now it's talking about two different things here, but that middle part is talking about trying to impeach President Trump. Let me undo that little change I made there. Now I think there's another impeach in here. Let me see if I can find. There we go. They will shout, impeach, impeach, but this shall not happen. And then God says, highly embarrassing moments when another Snowden arises and people will become very afraid. But here this at least Kim Clement's talking about, but this shall not happen, right? Twice. But nay, and this will not happen, right? So I'll post this prophecy in the notes so that you'll be able to. This is a pretty long, but this is one that talks about gold a lot as well, where he heard the word gold and he wasn't sure who it was, and the name was going to be Trump and gold, and obviously that's why I'm real big into that noble gold idea on the IRA and all that type of stuff, because you have a potential of Trump saying, Q saying that gold will destroy the Fed. And this prophecy talks a little bit about gold. It even had this thing, it says, we will cripple you. You will lose your credit. So basically, now hear me please, the giant of debt, the giants that have come, the brothers of Goliath, stand in glee watching America. We will cripple you. You will lose your credit. So basically the giants of debt. And this that they're talking about here. But God said, watch, I said 20,000. Look not to Wall Street, however, observe, and they shall say, what is your plan for this giant? And they're talking about the giant of debt. And it's real interesting. So I did a lot of research on this, and my personal opinion is that now there's a lot of decoders that say, hey, that means the 20,000 of the stock market, which hit shortly after Trump got in. But it says, look not to Wall Street. So I think that's talking about something else. And so I did a lot of research, and supposedly we don't have enough gold. And if we go to the gold standard, so the price of gold could go up to 20,000 according to some people. It's at what, 1,500 right now. So if it did that, it would be a pretty good investment. Now it's not financial advice, because Gene, the decoder, right? Our decoder, I don't think he's here on tonight, was talking about all the gold we thinks we got confiscated from multiple areas. So I haven't done a decode on that yet, but feels that we got it from the Clinton Foundation when we went and raided Obama's place, and the big German raid that I was talking about. Up to 40 trillion in gold that we've confiscated back as of the White Hats. So this might not. So what he's actually talking about here on the 20,000, I'm not sure. He comes back and he's talking about gold and holding up a stone to get rid of our debt. So what could that stone be? It's interesting. California and so this is also predicted the big drought ending in California with tons of rain, like happened, almost blew the banks over some of the dams, etc. So pretty exciting prophecy. But that's why I personally believe that there's not going to even be an impeachment. Impeachment's not that big of a deal, as you know. It's just like an indictment, and it's not going to. The trial in the Senate would not have it go through. Impeachment could actually help anyway. I think make the Democrats exposed for working with the deep state media and the criminal deep state as a whole. So, but the reason I personally don't think it's going to happen is because I believe Kim Clement's prophecy there was talking about Trump. Okay, you guys can go look at that yourself and let me know down in the comments below, or better yet, I'm much better with my emails. Sending me emails much better than if you're trying to connect with me. I'm trying to get some more moderators. If you're interested in being a moderator for me in the comment section, I'd like to get more people talking down there and giving your perspectives down there, especially people I trust. Versus a lot of people are commenting and there's no comments back and no replies. So I want to get that to be more active, and since I don't have the time, would love to let me know via email if you want to be a moderator in the comments of my sections. Obviously, the moderators that are here live with me are many of the live people, and they don't do a lot of the comments, but I wanted to see if I get a few more that wants to do that. I think it's the same setup. So Amy, thank you so much for serving me right now, and others can also do that. But again, their time's limited. They're putting a lot of time into these nightly broadcasts, serving me here. All right, and so that is what I wanted to go over today. I'll go read more of that since we have a few more minutes. I'm going to go read through some of the that Clement prophecy, which is just awesome. But here it is. Blessed2teach.com. That's, guys, a real important thing. I'm going to be rolling out new things coming out here, right? The next version of the cultural impact system is going to be coming. A lot more is going to be coming out about that. The backstage with Blessed to Teach, and this new T-shirt contest, right? So I got a lot of things going on to come to you guys. It's going to be fun. And so again, so check my social media out, including the what I send out on the communities in your feed should be there in YouTube. I know it's a Facebook. My IT guy has it all automated with an email and Facebook. So if you don't have a Facebook, not a big deal. Find somebody that does have a Facebook and let them know the phrases you want on a T-shirt. And we're going to be rolling out a new T-shirt every week for at least 6 to 8 weeks. Right, so if you have a phrase, obviously the where we go, when we go, and all the others that you can imagine, get your vote in. So I have a new Facebook group that you'd have to go to be part of this regular contest, right, where you can give your phrases and then you'll vote on those phrases, and then we'll be rolling out a new T-shirt for each of the first weeks. Also, backstage at Blessed to Teach, I'll be rolling out next week when I get back, and it's going to be awesome. I might even do it this weekend. And that is going to be your ability to use Searchy. I want to show you Searchy real quick again. I love this thing. I think you guys are just going to really love it. I'm going to bring up a new browser for it. But this thing is called Searchy. And it's going to allow you to, if you become part of the backstage, to be a monthly fee or a yearly fee that you can use if you'd like, if that was easier for you because you don't want a monthly charge. See if the best way I can show this. I have to bring this out here. So I'm going to have both my cultural impact system where you'll be able to search every single video and go to the exact moment in time of when I said it. It's like, here's all my videos, the Blessed to Teach shows, right? And you'll be able to go to a widget to search every one of these. So I'm just now you can see I'm just uploading every one of these since about 3 weeks ago. And then you're gonna have a much easier interface than this, but you're basically just gonna be able to search the Blessed to Teach shows. And so you just put any type of term right here. The new interface will be done this weekend, so I'll show you that in a bit. And you can just search on things like red pilling friends, right? And it'll go through and it'll look through. I better do red pill. As just one thing, and then you'll see here's all the red pill that comes up every time I said it, the exact minute I said it. Here's red pill your friends, right? You click on I don't know if you can actually see the whole. I'm going to search this over, and it literally finds the exact second I start talking about that.
Your friends. All right, I need to find the time that we've been on. 41 minutes.
Right, there's where I said red pill your friends. You can saw I mean red pill or blue pill friends. Here's another one. So you can click there. It goes to exactly 40 minutes and 57 seconds of that video, knowing exactly where it said.
Red pill your blue pill friends. So if your blue pill friends just won't listen to you about things, try to get them to understand the JFK files being released. Don't you want to know what the JFK files said after 50 years?
If you remember, hey, Mark Taylor said something. What was it that Mark Taylor said about a certain topic? And you could go find something on him. And you could corruption and church. I know he talks a lot about, here Mark Taylor live. They found it that fast. Look how fast that found Mark Taylor live. And at 6:43, he talks about corruption in the churches. All right, so this is literally going that exact video at that moment in time to 6 minutes and 42 seconds.
We're seeing a lot of corruption in the church starting to be exposed now. We're seeing like the apostle down.
Wow, that is a powerful tool, guys. Every minute and second of what I say. If I talked about, if you guys want to talk about, you pick a topic, any type of phrase you wanted to dig into, and maybe how to talk to your kids about the Lord, right? Any type of thing that is on your heart, have a community of other red-pilled people. When do I talk about that? And that's part of what that cultural impact system is going to be doing for you guys, is having a community of other red-pilled people, so you don't feel lonely, right? So or you can get better at red-pilling people. Also, behind the scenes here, I'm going to have exclusive content. I'm going to have more stuff with Dean. With Gene on decodes that go into more of the deeper stuff that he and I don't necessarily agree on, but he's got so much insight to that I want to look at the evidence, so you can go on the journey with me into the things like the whole empires beneath the ice in Antarctica, topics like that, the whole alien topics, deeper stuff on Nazis, all that type of stuff. So I'm going to be researching, and then also my son Josh is going to do a red-pilled behind the scenes on how he, being around progressives, because he's 21 years old, he red-pilled me at 17 years old, right? So he's been for 4 years around all his friends that are completely in the universities being blue-pilled, right? Progressives, and how does he red-pill his friends? And he's got some great insight, and that'll be a fun thing. So you want exclusive content, you want the ability to use Searchy, and you also have the behind the scenes. And the best part is you'll be with me 5 minutes before my shows, where we'll pray for the show, and then 5 minutes afterwards. So you'll also see a different camera angle, of a wide angle camera of my whole studio. So that's going to be Blessed to Teach behind the scenes. So make sure that you come to and visit. And what I was showing you earlier is this. blessedtoteach.com, because there'll be new tabs opening up here with blessed2teach.com, or go to the link where you go to the Facebook post to be part of the t-shirt contest. That's all that's going on here. Kind of exciting stuff. So I burned through most of the extra time. Let me go back to the Kim Clement thing, and we'll just take a little bit of time on that. This starts out talking about what I believe is talking about Trump, right, where he has a vision of this. And as I turned around, I was stunned at what I saw. This was not just a mere dream, but this was a vision. And so I was raised, my hand like this, and every one of them raised their hands. I looked back, and they were doing the same thing. I shouted, and they all shouted. They were one. They were one party of people. It continued until I realized that then in the unity of these amongst them stood one that God had set aside to be the leader of this nation. And I really believe this is going to happen in the second term, guys, is that you're going to have a lot of progressives just leave the United States. And that was based on one of the Mark Taylor's prophecies. And that you're going to have this huge United States of America, where we come back to something that's basically the Patriot Party or something like that, versus this Republican and Democrat sham that we have now. And this is just a beautiful and it's talking about how they're trying to take us down with so many different things, and it talks about the giant of socialism, the giant of debt, and that they're going to attack Trump with, etc. It's just not going to work. And the Spirit of God made me look at him, and he said, this man will throttle the enemies of Israel. That's why I just think ICE is getting wiped out. This man will throttle the enemies of the West. And they are highly embarrassing moments that are about to occur for many, many politicians in this nation. There will be a shaking amongst the Democrats in the upcoming elections, but unsettling for the Republicans. Why is God doing this? For God said, I am dissatisfied with what emerges from both parties. And I already read that portion to you guys. They will shout, impeach, impeach, but they shall not happen. And then God said, highly embarrassing moments, when another snowman rises and the people will become very afraid. They'll say, we have no protection. And then God says, am I impressed with your weapons of war? Am I impressed with the strength of your men's legs? Ha! I have said I will bring this nation to its knees. I think this is where it's talking about North Korea if you read the whole thing. And God said, you have been humbled, and yet some more, and then you shall hear the sounds of a great victory. For where are the people gathered? Where are my people gathered? Where is the sound of unity from my people? And then it even says that in this next week, this man shall begin to emerge. And you go back and look at the date. Sure enough, a few weeks later, Trump came down the escalators announcing his run for president. So beautiful prophecy way back in February of 2014, if you want to go dig into that. And tell you what, that's exciting. Let me pray for this because it's we're wrapped up out of time, 59 minutes. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You guys are a pleasure. Even when I'm traveling, I'm going to keep doing this. The behind the scenes, 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after, will only be when I'm in my studio. So you can know based on my travel schedule, probably around 60-70% of the time, I still am able to use the studio at home. But just want to make sure you were aware of that. Pricing and everything will be rolled out this weekend, so it'll be exciting. I hope you guys will join me in that. I'm invested a lot of money in trying to make this a better experience for you guys that want to go a little deeper with me. All right. So we have Trump not going into war, and we have the boom that came out from John Solomon showing that literally they had already started the Ukraine investigation of Burisma before the election, before the congratulatory phone call, left out, of course, by the big hoax of the whistleblower. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for the privilege of being with this audience, and Lord, it's just so fun to go through these new areas where I can get to meet them in a deeper way, like in the cultural impact system and the behind the scenes, and just doing things with them and come with contests where they come up with their phrases, and that's how we'll create a fun T-shirt or just a store in general with mugs and other things. Lord, it's just it's been fun to just invest and think through how to make it more fun for everybody in this movement as we get our popcorn and watch the show. Lord, but we know this is a real serious war, and it's a spiritual warfare. Lord, so we want to pray with you always. We want to join you in this movement. Lord, just communicate with us of how you want us to do that. Please keep the president safe. Keep the white hat safe. Allow each of us as digital citizen journalists and warriors for Christ out there, protect us and allow us to be used in a mighty way for your kingdom. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, guys, thanks so much again for joining me here on October 9th. Again, this is Blessed Teach Show. I'm Rick, your host. Love you guys, and we'll talk to you next time.